This is day 61 of researching a stock a day until I can quit my job. Today we're looking at MicroStrategy Part 2. In the current regime, MSTR has been able to borrow money to buy Bitcoin, to pump the price up, then use Bitcoin gains as collateral to borrow even more money to buy more Bitcoin. Calling it an infinite money glitch is generous, but it's a self-fulfilling cycle that works until it doesn't. I'm sorry, but we're going to need to do some math today. CEO Saylor likes to use a term called Bitcoin yield, which is just a way of saying how much leverage they're running, which is 1 plus the Bitcoin yield. The holdings aren't actually incurring interest, so the term is a bit misleading. MSTR's Bitcoin yield is around 25%. To explain simply, a Bitcoin yield of 100% means that every 2 Bitcoins held is backed up by 1 Bitcoin worth of net assets. So 1 Bitcoin was bought with capital that was raised by selling equity and supported by Bitcoin gains, and the other one was bought with loans. As the price of Bitcoin goes up, the Bitcoin yield falls, as the leverage means that the assets grow at a faster rate than the Bitcoin, and the yield goes up over time as the interest on the loans eats into the capital base. Saylor purchases Bitcoin by borrowing money using zero and low coupon convertible bonds. These are loans that allow the lender to either choose to receive cash and or shares at the end of the borrowing term, with some caveats, kind of like buy now pay later for Bitcoin. However, MSTR has started to issue preferred stock this year, which is essentially like taking on a loan that pays perpetual interest. This may be a signal that it's getting harder for them to borrow money through bonds, and that's one of MSTR's 2 main constraints: the availability of people willing to lend MSTR money and the liquidity of Bitcoin if they ever need to sell in size. Daily trading volume of Bitcoin is not a true indicator of the depth of the market, and if we consider the amount of Bitcoin in cold wallets, then the amount that MSTR owns relative to the actual trading market is quite a bit. Currently, people are willing to buy MSTR at a decent premium to its Bitcoin holdings due to the leverage access, and given that a lot of buyers don't actually understand how the math works. Instead of paying the interest on a loan yourself, you essentially pay for it all up front through the premium in the equity. The main reason you would buy MSTR and pay an extremely high premium is because you don't have access to Bitcoin, you don't have access to loans yourself, or because you put high value on MSTR's ability to not have to post margin on mark to market like you would with CME futures. Let's suppose you plan on buying $125,000 worth of Bitcoin, but only have $100K in cash. You have a decent credit score, so you borrow $25K over 5 years at 10%. You end up paying around $7K in interest through the life of the loan, which means you paid a 7% premium on your $100K to get the same leverage as you would with MSTR. With MSTR, you currently pay over a 50% premium. If your view is purely on Bitcoin, it makes little sense to hold MSTR. If your view is on regulatory arbitrage, index flows, and investor preferences, then holding MSTR on premium expansion could make sense. Of course, MSTR's premium may fall to more attractive levels, and MSTR may even one day trade at a discount, especially if we keep seeing changes like we did on Monday with Saylor now being able to dilute common shareholders more easily to pay down debt. If you didn't understand all that I just said, maybe it's not for you. At least, it's not one for me. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research.